shot! Dishes off to Jones, kicks it out to Aaron Martin, 4 seconds. Oh my goodness! He makes the three.
Are you kidding me, Aaron Martin?
Well, welcome to Wildcat Week. I'm Roger Alcock. The men's soccer team having another historic season. Last year, of course, the Wildcats won the conference tournament and advanced to the NAI National Tournament as well. This season, the men have only dropped one game en route to a first place ranking atop the league and then ranked number 6 in the latest national polls. That's their highest national ranking ever. Well, Wednesday night, the men traveled to Spring Arbor, Michigan to take on the highly talented Cougars of Spring Arbor University. And Wednesday night's game turned out to be a thriller in Spring Arbor. Well, both teams played excellent defense in the first half. Spring Arbor was very aggressive with their early possessions, and after going scoreless into halftime, Spring Arbor struck first in the 68th minute as Adam Hunt got the ball past keeper Josh Gepper, and Spring Arbor was on top 1-0. The home crowd was looking to celebrate, but junior Corey Lopez leveled in the score with a very nice header, and Tyrone Martin got credited with the assist. That goal tied the game at 1 apiece with just about 3 minutes and 42 seconds left in regulation. No more goals in regulation, and then in overtime, double overtime, Corey Lopez finds the back of the net. You see him with that extraordinary bicycle kick, and the Wildcats celebrate the golden goal from Corey Lopez, his 6th game-winning goal of the season. 2-1 the score in double overtime, and the Wildcats celebrate another Crossroads League regular season championship, their third consecutive title. The men have now won 13 straight games and have dropped only one game all season long. They're 14-1 overall and sit atop the conference at 8-0. Now the men clinch the #1 seed for the conference tournament and will have home field advantage throughout. Well, joining me now is junior forward Taylor Lehman of the men's soccer team. And Taylor, good to have you here and good to talk about, wow, crazy, wildly successful season. You guys got to be excited with another conference championship.
Yeah, it's great to be here, and it was really exciting. We are definitely pumped about another outright title.
Now, I know, at the beginning of the season, every team establishes goals and those kinds of things. I would assume a conference championship, one of those goals and getting back to NAI tournament, another goal. Other goals you guys have in mind yet for this season you want to accomplish? Yeah,
those were definitely a couple of our goals. We wanted to definitely step it up from last season, and Elite 8 is ultimately where we want to get. Definitely want to make it to the final game, but just take the next step from the final 16.
Now, I know you guys have already clinched the conference championship. You're 8-0. But you have one more conference game left here. At home, it'll be senior night against Mount Vernon Nazarene. The pressure's off in some sense, but I imagine you guys still want to play well for your seniors and continue this momentum going into postseason play.
Yeah, that's exactly what we want to do. We've talked a lot about our seniors, and they just had great leadership and have been great players here, and we want them to go out on top, especially as it's their last home game here, and just ride that momentum into the conference tournament.
Talk a little bit about that Spring Arbor game, because as we go back a little bit, you fell behind 1-0 against Spring Arbor, and admittedly probably they're geared up for an upset. They'd like to shut you guys down. You guys had to stick into that game, stick with your game plan, and get it into overtime. But at any point, got a little nervous there?
Well, we have come from behind in several games this year. Obviously, it was a little nerve-wracking, but we just have some great players, and I just had a faith that we were gonna put it in. Actually, Coach was about to sub out Corey Lopez, and then the referee had missed him, and he's like, you know what, Corey's about to score. And sure enough, he puts it in with 30 seconds.
Now, the rumor is that you work with Corey every day after practice on executing the bicycle kick.
I would love to say that rumor is true, but no, Corey's a special player, and he has some cheeky moves.
Well, cheeky, we even pull out some great soccer terms.
Oh, yeah.
So, again, Mount Vernon Nazarene, national title, national tournament. Where's that being played this year?
It's in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So probably a lot warmer than it is right here.
All right. Well, Taylor, again, congratulations to you and the team on a conference championship, and best luck to you guys as you move into the final part of your season into national tournament play.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on in. Well, the women's soccer team, they also faced off against Spring Arbor on Wednesday night, this time hosting the Cougars. The team honored 7 young ladies on senior night, and the Wildcats hung tough with Spring Arbor, who came into the game ranked number 9 in the country. Karen Clancy, Caitlin Maines, Tracy Tiernan, Elisa Teller, Haley Sversina, Megan Hardesty, and Jillian Owens were all honored in front of the home crowd prior to the game. And there you get a good look at our seniors. Spring Arbor played like a top 10 team though, and Becca Lynn of the Cougar found the back of the net in the 12th minute of play. See a very physical game in this one. The Wildcats had quite a few fouls called on them early. Didn't help their cause in the victory, but the Cougars were able to take advantage and score again, taking a 2-0 lead, and that certainly was good enough for the win. A good effort by the Wildcats in this evening, but ultimately they fell to the Cougars 2-0, the final score in this one, as they dropped this one to Spring Arbor University. The women's record now moves to 4 wins, 11 losses, and a tie in the year, and they have a 3 wins against 4 losses and 1 tie mark in conference play. Now the women's soccer team has 1 more regular season game this fall. They will travel to Mount Vernon Nazarene University in Ohio to take on the Cougars on October 25th. The IW volleyball team continued their hot play last night against St. Francis University. The Wildcats leading the way in the Crossroads League, and they traveled up to Fort Wayne looking to continue their really dominating performances against conference opponents. They took the first game in a tight one, 25-23. Wildcats really got better with each game as the night progressed. They took the second game 25-15, and the Wildcats cruised to a 25-8 score in the final match of the night. 3-0 the final score in this contest. The Wildcats are now winners of 4 straight matches, and the Wildcats remain in first place in the conference standings. They boast a 14-1 record in Crossroads League play. They sit at 24-5 overall on the year. The women will travel to Kentucky this weekend to compete in the Boneyard Brawl, where they'll take on Davenport in their opening match on Friday night. Well, when we come back, we'll sit down with the first-year cross-country runner Nino Bellinati and revisit some more Wildcat scores, so don't go away. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back to Wildcat Week. The men's cross-country team is quietly having a really outstanding season, and in September, the Wildcats competed in several big meets, including the GRIAC Invitational. That's in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and that's a very prestigious meet, and the men took 3rd place overall. That was their highest result ever in that Invitational. They also took 3rd place in the pre-national invite in Lawrence, Kansas, just a week or 2 ago, and all the Wildcats are ranked in top 10 in the nation, and that's their highest ranking in the last 6 years. So joining me now is Nino Bellinati, who has led the Wildcats in his first year competing for the Wildcats. So Nino, welcome to Wildcat Week. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Your first year for the Wildcats, but you're really not new to the area or to running.
Yeah, I'm from Sweetser, so I'm a local boy. This is actually my 2nd year taking classes at Indiana Wesleyan. But first year competing on the cross country and track teams in the spring. So
now you started out your running career after high school at Purdue.
Correct.
Took some time off from college and got back into it. And
got back into the sport. I started coaching junior high and high school track at Oak Hill, and kind of piqued my interest and decided to go back to school, get a degree in health and PE, and pursue that later in life. And here I am running. So
you're only a junior. Eligibility-wise, there's some young talent. This is a team that could be maybe even better next year.
Hopefully, and with cross country and distance running, injuries is always looming over your head, overuse and stress fractures and things like that. But right now we're healthy for the most part. You have your bumps and bruises, but everybody seems to be doing fine. And we've competed well at the last couple of invitationals, and I think everybody's really getting used to the distance. 8K is an adjustment coming from high school where you run 5K. But everybody's kind of, including myself, it's been a while since I've ran in cross country. So everybody's honing their racecraft, and hopefully here in a couple of weeks when the meets really start to count,
well,
we'll have it down.
You mentioned when the meets really start to count, and November 8th is the Crossroads League Championship. I believe it's over at Taylor in Upland, but that's got to be the one you guys are really looking forward to next, trying to win a conference title.
Yeah, if you ever talk to Coach Voss, that's the goal every year, is to win the conference title. Sometimes you fall short, but that's the aim every year for our program, is to win the conference title.
Well, in the pre-national invite, you guys were the highest finishing league team, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's what's going to happen at the league meet. You still have to really come prepared.
Certainly, and Taylor, Taylor's probably our biggest threat, but Goshen's got a really good team. They're coming on strong, and it's at Taylor.
Yeah.
So obviously, I heard that's a bit of a rivalry. So they're going to be gunning for us.
All right. Well, good luck to you, Nino, and welcome to Wildcat Week in IWU, and good luck to you guys the rest of the season.
Thank you very much. It was nice to be here.
All right. Well, there was, of course, plenty of other Wildcat action from this past weekend. The women's soccer team traveled to Huntington. IWU came into the contest with a 500 record in league play. They were hoping to improve upon that mark. There was a yellow card only 12 seconds into the game on the Wildcats, so Huntington would strike first as Caitlin Dremen of the Forster finds the back of the net. Just 4 minutes into this ball game, Carrie Debney, she tried to prevent the goal after the keeper Megan Weiss slipped and fell, but the Wildcats fall behind in this contest 1-0. Now Carrie Debney of the Wildcats leveled the game at 1 apiece coming in the second half. Not long after that though, Courtney Baker of Huntington responded to give the Foresters back the lead once again at 2-1. Now, Lindsay Rittenhouse answered in the 69th minute to make this a tie ball game once again, 2-2 for the Wildcats. She got the assist from Katie Panabecker, but neither team would score in regulation, so they head into overtime. Both teams had opportunities, but neither one could capitalize, and the contest ended in double overtime, 2-2. The women next traveled to Mount Vernon Nazarene in Ohio on Saturday to take on the Cougars. That game time is 2 o'clock Eastern Time. The women begin the conference tournament November the 1st. Their first round opponent has not yet been determined. The men's soccer team competed Saturday, and they will be facing against Huntington as well. The men sit in the driver's seat in conference play, and they remain undefeated in Crossroads League play. The Foresters looking to upset the Wildcats. They could not even approach it though. Bart Bland takes us inside their victory over the Foresters with a post-game reaction from Coach Schulman and Tyrone Martin.
There was one story to tell from Saturday night at Wildcat Field, the men's soccer domination over the Huntington Foresters. IWU spent a majority of game time in attack mode, trying to make the game out of reach for Huntington. At the end of the first half, the score was 1-0 in favor of the Wildcats. The lone goal was scored by junior Taylor Lehman. Coach Joe Schulman said he wasn't surprised by the low scoring because they are really a second-half team.
It's happened a lot this year, so it wasn't unusual. So we've got a lot of experience at it, to be quite honest with you. And the guys always seem to rise up and really come out hard beginning of the second half. And tonight was no exception, thankfully.
In the second half, IWU came out and proved they play better in the last 45 minutes, scoring 4 more goals. Corey Lopez and Tyrone Martin scored the next 2 goals in the 50th and 53rd minutes. Martin scored his second in the 69th minute, and freshman Pablo Montes scored his first collegiate goal to close out the match in the 84th minute. At the end of the contest, the Wildcats won a total of 5-0. After the game, we caught up with Tyrone Martin, the leading scorer of Saturday night's game. He said that because the team works better in the second half, he wasn't surprised they won by such a big margin.
So coming into that second half, I knew we were going to do something great. But you know, just continue to move forward and just continue to get the goals. Second half really was a good move for us.
Martin was named the Crossroads League Offensive Player of the Week for his performance against both St. Francis and Huntington last week. For Wildcat Week, I'm Bart Bland.
Well, conference tournament play begins November the 1st for the guys. They will be the #1 seed in that tournament. They finished the regular season Saturday night against Mount Vernon Nazarene. That will be senior night, game time 7 p.m. at Wildcat Field. Well, the women's volleyball team was also in action last weekend, and they came away with a pair of victories. On Friday night, the Wildcats welcomed the Pilots of Bethel University to Lucky Arena. The Wildcats came into the contest with a first place standing in the Crossroads League, while Bethel entered the contest with a record of 6-5 in conference play. Now, some younger players led the way for the Wildcats, and they came away with a convincing win against the Pilots. Morgan Miller led the charge for the Wildcats. This is one of her 10 kills on the night for Morgan. Kylie Patera saw some action as well. She had 6 kills. Defense and offense were certainly in sync on this night as the Wildcats cruise to a Game 1 victory. Remy Beckner played an all-around outstanding game with 7 kills and 6 assisted blocks. Miller continued to dominate offensively, and the Wildcats took the second and the third games as well. So Bethel really had no answer for the Wildcats in this one as they went on to a 3-0 victory. The Wildcats dominated the match in 3 games, and as we see the final score there, 25-16, 25-16, and 25-7. So an outstanding effort by Coach Moats and the Lady Wildcats. The volleyball team, they'll continue to dominate the action, or they did continue to dominate the action as they took on Goshen University when Goshen visited Lucky Arena. And Hungry Maple Leafs team looked to upset the Wildcats, but they really ran into a buzzsaw in the Wildcats. IW played some of their best volleyball in front of what was called the Pink Out crowd in honor of cancer awareness. The women wore uniforms to honor breast cancer patients and survivors in that game. Well, Goshen came to play as the Wildcats and Maple Leafs had some really outstanding rallies all night long. Katie Holler catches Goshen off guard with a nice put away there. Bianca Cifaldi had 14 kills on the night and led the offensive efforts for the Wildcats. Remy Beckner, she continued to have a great season, 9 kills and 3 blocks, 3 assists there. Wildcats stepped the defensive effort up as well in this match and held off the Maple Leafs in really what ended up being a closely contested match. IW would get the win, though, in 4 games, taking the contest 3-1 against the Maple Leafs of Goshen College. There you can see the score there, 3-1. Wildcats took Game 1 25-19. Goshen responded with a victory in Game 2, but Game 3 came down to the wire with the Wildcats winning 26-24. That was a nail-biter for sure, and they put it away, though, in the final game, 25-13. Morgan Miller again led the way for the Wildcats in kills with 15. Katie Holler, 45 assists in this one, and she was named the Crossroads League Player of the Week for her efforts in that contest. Well, the Wildcats are now receiving votes in the national poll. The conference tournament begins November 11th for the women's volleyball team. They should be the #1 seed in that tournament. Well, when we come back, we're going to gear up for some basketball, and we're going to preview both the men's season and the women's head basketball coach, Steve Brooks, will be here in studio to talk about their outlook as well. So it's all right here ahead on Wildcat Week. Well, welcome back to Wildcat Week. The basketball season is nearly here. It's hard to believe. And, of course, it's down to crunch time now for the Wildcat coaches as they have to get their teams ready. Kyle Johnson spent some time with the men's team and sat down with Coach Greg Tonigal and Coach Ethan Whaley to preview the men's season.
It's that time of year again.
Good pass.
The men's basketball team at IWU is gearing up for another season with a focus on the present, not the glamorous past.
It's about coming in every single day and winning that day, winning that possession, winning that drill. And I think if you get caught up too much in looking down the road and setting goals, you lose sight of what you're trying to do. If we can be the best we can absolutely be in every single drill and every single practice, it ends up, and the process plays itself out.
Head coach Greg Tonigal has the team ready, and they're looking to turn the heat up on opponents.
we want to play offense on both ends, which means on the offensive end we're attacking, but on the defensive end we're going to make the offense react to us.
Assistant coach Ethan Whaley says the first game couldn't come any sooner.
I think guys are ready to get rolling. You know, we were going for about 5 weeks in the preseason with conditioning and weights and along with working pretty hard in the summer. So they're ready to just get on the court and get after it. I think they're tired of us beating up on them in the weight room. So they're excited for the season to start. You know, we've got 5 new guys. We graduated 2 All-Americans and Garvin Hoy, who was the spiritual rock for our team the last 3 or 4 years. And so we've got a lot of new faces, and I think guys are still getting familiar with each other. They're still getting to know each other's games, but I think they're excited to get the ball rolling and have that target on our back as we're coming off a great season. I think they're up to the challenge.
That great season, of course, ending with a national championship. But Tonical says it's in the past where it belongs.
Last year's success, that was last year's team. Let's make our own this year. And so far, that's what I've seen. I think we probably had one of the best off seasons we've ever had. I don't think guys are feeding off yesterday. I think they're hungry for what tomorrow can bring, and that's why I'm excited to coach this team.
Grant County is certainly ready to watch.
Championship on 3. 1, 2, 3. Championship.
For Wildcat Week, I'm Kyle Johnson.
Well, the women, they will open up their season on November the 1st, and they travel north to IU South Bend on the road. And last year, the Lady Wildcats advanced to the second round of the NAIA National Tournament. And Coach Steve Brooks is in the studio now to talk to us just a little bit. Coach, you go into your 16th season now as the head coach of the Wildcats, and every season it's kind of a new start, new beginnings, and new questions to be answered. And this year for the Wildcats, you have some new faces, but looking to maybe contend for another conference championship, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the goal. We want to come out, get started right on the 1st, and hopefully set a platform that we can build on throughout the course of the season.
You know, last year we kind of, at the end of the season, we talk about the seniors that you lose, but you welcome some new faces. We want to talk about them really quick. I know Kelsey Key, a lot of people looking for some good things from her. She could score the basketball. I know in high school she really lit it up.
She averaged 33 points a game in high school. She's a transfer from Northern Kentucky University. Very, very athletic young lady and can definitely score the ball. She's learning how we play and definitely on the defensive end making some changes, and we look for big things from her. We have a freshman, 2 freshmen. We have Anna Imhoff from Brebeuf High School, 6 foot, who I think has a chance to be one of the best players we've had here. And I don't want to jinx her, but I think that at her size and her skill level, there's, we're going to ease her into this thing. We're not going to throw her into the deep end right away, but she's one of the best 3-point shooters we've had since I've been here, which says a lot because we've had some really good ones. I think she's going to line up in that group pretty well. And then we have Brittany Washington, a kid from Detroit Country Day, point guard, who's incredibly athletic, and she's coming off a knee injury. And so we're just now starting to see where she's at and what she can do.
Well, these newcomers will learn quickly what the returners known that, if you want to see the court for a Wildcats women's basketball team, you better be able to play some defense, because that's kind of the calling card, that's the hallmark. And how does your team shape up on the defensive end right now?
We've had some really good practices. Monday of this week, it was maybe one of the best practices we've had, but then we've also had some of the worst practices. So we've been really inconsistent in practice. Do I think there's potential there for us to be a really good defensive team? Yeah, I do. I think that there's a mindset there. I think our senior kids understand and are working hard to try to help our younger players understand that this is who we are and this is where we need to get for us to be the kind of team we want to be.
All right. Well, we're looking certainly forward to another season of basketball. It's hard to believe it's already here,
Yeah.
but should be a great one. And we thanks for being here today. And we'll look forward to seeing you throughout the season.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that's all we have for you this week on Wildcat Week. But if you have any comments or suggestions about the show, we'd like to hear from you. You can write us here at the station, WIW-TV, 4201 South Washington Street, Marion, Indiana 46953. Or you can visit our website, wiwtv.com. You can watch past episodes and connect with us online. Once again, wiwtv.com. And we look forward to being back with you next week. So for all of us here, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.